Picture a conference room where the temperature has quietly risen. Two people are talking over each other. A third keeps tapping the table, waiting for a gap to jump into. Someone's voice cracks with frustration. Someone else leans forward, jabbing the air with a pen to make a point that isn't landing. The room has become a competition for who can be the loudest proof of their own certainty. And then there's the person in the corner. Not slumped, not disengaged, just still. They've barely spoken. Their hands are resting. Their breathing hasn't changed. When their eyes move, they move slowly, taking in one face, then another, then another. They look to most people like the least important person in the room, the quiet one, the harmless one, the one who doesn't really have anything to add. But watch what happens when they finally speak. The room goes quiet, not because they raised their voice, they didn't. Not because they slammed the table, they never do. The room goes quiet because everyone suddenly realizes this person has been listening to everything, absorbing everything, and giving away nothing. Here's the paradox almost nobody understands. We are taught to fear the angry person, the aggressive person, the one who dominates through volume. But the person you should actually pay attention to is the one who stays calm while everyone else loses control. Because that calmness isn't emptiness, it's not weakness, and it's very rarely innocence. The calmness is usually hiding something far more powerful than anger. And by the end of this, you're going to understand exactly what it is, why calm people so often end up controlling rooms they never seem to fight for, why their silence rearranges the behavior of everyone around them, and how that same quiet power can become yours. Let me be clear about what I mean though, because the word dangerous gets misunderstood. I don't mean cruel, I don't mean cold. I mean something much more specific, difficult to manipulate, impossible to provoke, hard to read, immune to the emotional games that control almost everyone else. The danger of the truly calm person isn't that they'll hurt you. It's that they cannot be moved by the things that move everyone else. And that makes them one of the most quietly formidable presences in any room they walk into. There are 8 things these people understand, whether they learn them consciously or arrived at them the hard way. Let's start with the first, because everything else builds on it. Lesson 1, calm people are harder to read, and unreadability is a form of power. Think about the last time you were in a tense conversation and you could tell exactly how the other person felt. Their face flushed, their voice tightened, their words came faster. In that moment, you knew something valuable, you knew where they were emotionally, you knew what was working and what wasn't, you knew which button, if pressed, would get a reaction. Now imagine someone who gives you none of that. You say something sharp and their expression doesn't shift. You apply pressure and nothing leaks out. You have no idea if you're winning or losing because they aren't broadcasting their internal state. This is unsettling for a reason rooted in basic social psychology. Human beings read each other constantly. We are wired to predict other people, their moods, their intentions, their next move, because prediction is safety. When someone becomes unpredictable, our nervous system treats it as a mild threat. We lean in. We work harder to figure them out. We give them more of our attention. And here's what most people never notice. The moment you're trying to figure someone out, they have a subtle advantage over you. You're spending energy decoding them. They're spending nothing. The calm person hasn't done anything aggressive. They've simply refused to hand you the map to their inner world. And in doing so, they've made you the one who's exposed. Which leads directly to the second thing. Lesson 2, emotionally reactive people leak information, and information is control. Watch 2 people negotiate anything, a salary, a boundary, who's right in an argument, and pay attention to who reacts first and hardest. The person who snaps, who raises their voice, who says the thing they'll regret, has just told you everything. They've told you what they're afraid of. They've told you where their limit is. They've told you what they secretly want, because people only defend that hard the things they're most attached to. Reaction is revelation. Every overreaction is a confession. There's a concept in psychology often described as emotional flooding. The moment your emotional response becomes so intense that it overwhelms your ability to think clearly. When someone floods, their strategic mind essentially goes offline. They stop choosing their words and start spilling them. And the person across from them, if they've stayed composed, is now holding a detailed map of the other person's fears, priorities, and pressure points, a map the reactive person drew themselves for free. This is where it gets interesting. Most people think staying calm in conflict is about being the bigger person. It's partly that, but functionally, staying calm keeps your own cards face down while the other person turns theirs face up. You're not withholding out of coldness. You're withholding because reaction is expensive, and the calm person has simply decided to stop paying that price. But there's an even sharper edge to this, and it's the third lesson. Lesson 3. Calmness forces other people to expose themselves. This one is subtle, and once you see it, you'll notice it everywhere. When you stay still, you create a vacuum, and human beings are deeply uncomfortable with vacuums, especially social ones. Silence in a conversation feels like pressure, so when one person stays calm and quiet, the other person almost always rushes to fill the space, and in filling it, they reveal their real intent. Imagine someone confronts you with an accusation, half hoping you'll get defensive and reactive so they can escalate. If you explode, you've given them the fight they came for. But if you stay calm and simply ask, what makes you say that? And then wait, something shifts. They have to keep talking. And the more they talk, the more their actual motive comes to the surface. Were they hurt, testing you, fishing for a reaction, trying to provoke a mistake? The stillness draws it out. This is the part almost nobody sees. The calm person isn't just protecting themselves. They're running a kind of quiet experiment. By refusing to react, they let the other person's true agenda reveal itself in real time, not through interrogation, through patience. They understand that people show you who they are most clearly when they think you're not fighting back. And to do that well, you need something most people have completely lost. That's the fourth lesson. Lesson 4. The calmest person usually sees the whole room. Here's a truth about attention. It's a limited resource, and strong emotion consumes almost all of it. When you're angry, anxious, or desperate to prove something, your attention collapses inward. You're focused on your own point, your own hurt, your own need to win. You stop noticing the small things, the glance two colleagues exchange, the person who went quiet, the shift in someone's posture when a certain topic came up. Emotion narrows the lens. Calm does the opposite. When you're not spending your energy managing a storm inside yourself, your attention is free to expand outward. You start to see the room the way a chess player sees a board, not just the piece in front of you, but the whole pattern. Who's aligned with whom, who's uncomfortable, what isn't being said, where the real decision is actually being made. And once you understand this, the room never looks the same again. The loudest person, so busy performing their certainty, is usually the one who sees the least. The calm person in the corner, saying almost nothing, is often the only one who understands what's actually happening, not because they're smarter, but because they've kept their attention free enough to watch. This wide, patient observation is fueled by something the reactive person can't tolerate, and that brings us to the fifth lesson. Lesson 5. Silence makes people more honest, more nervous, and more revealing. Most people cannot stand silence. In conversation, a pause of even a few seconds feels unbearable, and we scramble to fill it. Skilled interviewers, experienced negotiators, and good therapists all know this instinctively. If you ask a question and then simply stay quiet, the other person will keep talking, and what they say in that uncomfortable stretch is often more honest than anything they plan to say. Silence is a mirror. When you don't fill it, people are left with their own words echoing back at them. Someone who just made a weak argument, met with calm silence, will often start to hear the weakness themselves and begin to walk it back. Someone who was bluffing will start to feel the bluff exposed. Someone who is hiding something will feel the pull to fill the quiet, and details will slip out that they never intended to share. But here's the nuance, because this matters. Silence isn't a weapon you use to trap people or manipulate them into confessions. Used that way, it's just another form of aggression wearing a quiet mask. The real skill is comfort. The calm person isn't strategically deploying silence, they're simply comfortable in a space where everyone else is squirming. And that comfort is what gives them room to think while others react. Which raises the question this whole video has been circling. Where does that comfort actually come from? That's the sixth lesson, and it's where the word dangerous starts to make real sense. Lesson 6. True calm comes from self-control, not innocence. There's a version of calm that's just naivety, the peace of someone who doesn't understand the stakes, who hasn't noticed the tension, who's calm because they're oblivious. That's not what we're talking about. That kind of calm evaporates the instant reality arrives. The calm that carries real weight is different. It's the calm of someone who sees the danger clearly, feels the full pull of anger or fear or the urge to lash out, and chooses, in that moment, not to be ruled by it. That's not the absence of emotion. That's emotion under command. This is the heart of what psychologists call emotional regulation, and it's one of the most reliable markers of psychological maturity we know of. It's not about suppressing what you feel or pretending you feel nothing. Suppression actually tends to backfire and leak out sideways. It's about feeling the emotion fully and then deciding what to do with it, rather than letting it decide for you. And this is exactly why the truly calm person is dangerous in the real sense of the word. Their stillness isn't emptiness, it's a fully loaded awareness that has simply chosen not to fire. They know exactly what they could say, they see exactly which button to press, they feel the anger you're trying to provoke, and they've made a deliberate choice not to hand you that reaction. The person who feels everything and controls all of it is far more formidable than the person who feels nothing at all. One is empty, the other is disciplined, and discipline, unlike emptiness, can be aimed. There's a reason people instinctively trust that kind of presence, especially when everything is falling apart. That's the seventh lesson. Lesson 7. In chaos, people follow the calm voice because calm signals competence. Think about any real crisis you've lived through: an accident, a medical emergency, a project collapsing hours before a deadline. In those moments, notice who people instinctively turn toward. It's almost never the person panicking the loudest. It's the one who lowers their voice, slows things down, and says calmly, "Okay, here, what we're going to do." There's a deep reason for this. When we're frightened, our own thinking becomes unreliable, and we look to others to help us regulate. Psychologists sometimes call this co-regulation. A calm nervous system is contagious in the same way a panic one is. When someone stays steady while everything shakes, our brains read that steadiness as a signal. This person knows something I don't. This person has it handled. And we hand them our trust, often without noticing we've done it. This is how calm people end up leading without ever campaigning for it. They don't seize authority. It gets handed to them quietly in the moments that matter most. Because in a storm, the steady voice sounds like the competent one, and we're wired to follow competence when we're afraid. But there's a final level to all of this, the deepest form of calm, and the one that's hardest to earn. That's the 8th lesson. Lesson 8. The strongest calm is the kind that can't be shaken by disrespect, pressure, or provocation. Anyone can stay calm when things are easy. The real test comes when someone insults you, dismisses you, tries to bait you into looking foolish, or applies pressure specifically designed to make you crack. Most people fail this test because their calm is conditional. It depends on being treated well. The most powerful form of composure is unconditional. It doesn't depend on your circumstances or on other people's behavior. Someone can be rude to you and you don't flinch, not because you didn't notice, but because you've decided their behavior doesn't get to dictate your state. Someone tries to provoke you, and the provocation simply finds no fuel to catch on. This is the closest thing to genuine inner authority that exists. It comes from a specific place, no longer needing other people's approval. Agreement or reaction to feel secure in who you are. When you don't need someone to validate you, they lose their power to destabilize you. When you're not afraid of losing an argument, you can't be manipulated by the fear of losing it. The person who needs the least from the room is almost always the one with the most power in it. And that's the whole picture. 8 ways calm becomes control, but there's an enormous distance between understanding these ideas and actually becoming this kind of person. And that distance is exactly what I want to talk to you about for a moment. Because here's the honest truth. Watching a video like this creates awareness, and awareness is the essential first step. You genuinely can't change what you can't see, But awareness alone rarely changes behavior. You already know it's better to stay calm. The hard part is doing it when your heart is pounding and someone just crossed a line. The gap between knowing and doing is exactly what I wrote my book to close. It goes far deeper than any single video can, with practical frameworks for staying grounded under pressure, exercises for building real emotional regulation, and reflection prompts that help you understand your own triggers so they stop controlling you. If these ideas resonated and you want to actually build this into who you are, the first link in the description is where to start. Then let's keep going, because there's more to understand about how this power actually works from the inside. Let me show you something about all of this that ties it together, because it's easy to hear these 8 lessons and walk away with the wrong idea. You might think the goal is to become cold, distant, impossible to reach, to turn yourself into a wall so nothing gets through, but that's not calm power, that's just fear wearing a disguise. The person who builds walls is still being controlled by what's outside them. They've just chosen avoidance instead of explosion. Real calm isn't a wall, it's a wide, open awareness that simply doesn't get knocked over. Think back to that person in the corner of the room. What made them powerful wasn't that they'd shut themselves down. It was the opposite. They were more open than anyone, more aware, more observant, more in contact with what was actually happening. They felt the tension in the room more accurately than the people creating it. They just weren't at the mercy of it. That's the reframe that changes everything. We tend to think of self-control as tension, as clenching, gritting your teeth, holding yourself back. But the deepest form of composure feels more like spaciousness. There's room between what happens and how you respond. In that room, you get to choose. And the whole game of power, manipulation, and social pressure runs on eliminating that room, on getting you to react before you can think. The calm person has simply refused to give up the space where their choices live. So here's what actually happens when you become this person. The people who used to be able to provoke you find that their old tricks stop working, and they don't quite know why. Arguments that used to pull you in for hours lose their grip because you're no longer supplying the fuel. In moments of chaos, you notice people turning toward you not because you demanded it, but because your steadiness became the thing they needed. And slowly, you stop feeling the need to prove yourself in every conversation, because your sense of who you are stops depending on winning them. The loudest person in the room is not the strongest. They're usually the most afraid that if they stop performing, they'll disappear. The angriest person is not the most in control. They've handed the controls to whoever knew which button to push. But the calm person sees the most, needs the least, and moves with the most precision, because nothing is stealing the space where their judgment lives. That is what calm really is. Not softness, not passivity, not the absence of feeling. Calm is control over your attention, over your reactions, over the one thing no one can take from you unless you give it away, your own response. And the moment you truly own that, you become something the world simply cannot push around. Silence is not weakness, stillness is not surrender, and the quietest person in the room is very often the one who understands it best. If something in this shifted the way you see the people around you, and maybe the way you see yourself, then you've already done the hardest part. You've started to notice. But noticing is where this begins, not where it ends. The reason I wrote my book was to give people a real path from understanding these ideas to living them. Because I've watched too many people grasp exactly why calm is powerful and still lose themselves the moment real pressure hits. Inside, you'll find the deeper psychology behind everything we covered here, along with concrete practices for building composure under fire, mapping your own emotional triggers, and developing the kind of inner authority that no longer needs anyone's approval to stay steady. It's the difference between admiring calm people and becoming one. If you're serious about this, about becoming genuinely difficult to manipulate, hard to provoke, and quietly in command of yourself no matter what's happening around you, the first link in the description is your next step. Take your time with it. This kind of change isn't loud and it isn't fast. But then again, the most powerful things in this room never are.